Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by our little spot to hang out with us today. If you like the music on this channel, go to our YouTube music channel at DRIZZLER Works Music, or just click on the link in this video. There we have calming and study music to chill out to or for your next grind. Your support helps us reach good people like yourself. So with that said, this is how a stalker's brain works, and it's really disturbing. Today we're diving into one of the darker corners of human psychology, the mind of a stalker. Why do people stalk? How does their mind twist everyday interactions into unhealthy obsessions? And why is it so incredibly dangerous, not only for their victims, but sometimes even for themselves? Let's start with something basic: obsession and attachment. For most of us, when we like someone or admire them, we might think about them here and there, maybe check their social media or enjoy bumping into them in real life. But for a stalker, this interest becomes a central focus of their entire thought process. They don't just like someone, they revolve their day, their emotions, and their sense of self around that person. Psychologists call this a form of obsessive relational intrusion. It's the inability or refusal to accept boundaries between themselves and another person. This is the first warning sign of stalking behavior. Stalkers often suffer from cognitive distortions. These are warped thought patterns that convince them their actions are normal, justified, or even romantic. For example, when their victim says, "Leave me alone," the stalker's brain can twist this into, "She's just playing hard to get." When they're blocked on social media, instead of respecting the boundary, they might interpret it as a challenge or even proof that the other person still thinks about them. This warped thinking locks them into a cycle where every rejection just fuels their determination. Now, not all stalkers are the same, but research has divided them into a few common types. One category is the rejected stalker, usually someone who was in a relationship that ended. They can't let go, and instead of moving on, they pursue their ex with increasing intensity. Another is the intimacy seeker, who believes that destiny or fate has chosen them to be with their target, even if they have barely met. Then there's the incompetent suitor, who thinks showering a person with unwanted attention will eventually win them over. Perhaps most disturbing are resentful stalkers, who often feel slighted or wronged and channel their obsession into intimidation and revenge. Each type has its own disturbing hallmarks, but the end result is the same: ongoing harassment, the breakdown of personal safety, and a terrifying sense of being hunted. When neuroscientists study stalkers, they often point to abnormalities in brain regions related to impulse control, emotional regulation, and social perception. For example, the amygdala, the part of the brain linked to fear and threat detection, can misfire. Instead of sensing the discomfort of the victim, the stalker might only process their own feelings of rejection. This leads to heightened anger, a persistent need to reestablish contact, and in some cases, violent behavior. Combined with reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, which helps us regulate our actions and consider consequences, you get someone who feels overwhelming urges, but with little internal braking power. And let's not underestimate loneliness. Many stalkers struggle with feelings of emptiness and social rejection in their lives. Their obsession can feel like a twisted solution to that loneliness. The target becomes both their emotional crutch and their obsession, creating a parasitic dependency that spirals out of control. The brain starts treating the victim like an addiction, firing off reward signals when the stalker gains a scrap of attention, and flooding the system with withdrawal-like pain when ignored. Social media hasn't helped. In fact, it's magnified stalking behaviors. Platforms provide easy access to personal information: where someone goes, who they're with, their routines, their thoughts, and even their emotional states. For the stalker's brain, this endless feed of personal detail encourages fixation. They mistake information access for intimacy, tricking themselves into believing they know someone deeply just because they see posts or stories every day. What's worse, algorithms feed them more of the same person's content, intensifying the cycle. One of the most disturbing aspects is the way stalkers justify their behavior. To them, they're not villains. They see themselves as star-crossed lovers, concerned protectors, or righteous avengers. Their brain often suppresses empathy for the victim while amplifying their own needs and desires. This egocentric loop means they genuinely believe they're in the right, even when committing criminal acts like harassment, trespassing, or worse. Stalking also has a destructive feedback loop. The more the victim resists or escapes, the more determined the stalker becomes. It's similar to an addiction pathway. Denial of the fix makes the craving more intense. This is why victims often feel like there's no winning. They're punished both for engaging and for not engaging. The stalker's brain simply reinterprets every response as encouragement to continue. And of course, all of this is dangerous. Studies show that a significant number of stalkers escalate over time. They may start with messages and social media comments, but if unchecked, it can grow into physical following, intimidation, and sometimes willful violence. The longer the obsession continues, the more deeply ingrained it becomes in the stalker's identity. They stop seeing themselves as just a person. They see themselves as the person connected to their victim's life story. So what does this mean for the rest of us? First, stalking isn't just about creepy behavior. It's a serious psychological imbalance that warps how people see relationships and reality itself. Second, if you ever feel like someone is exerting unwanted attention, trust your instincts. Don't downplay it. Boundaries, documentation, and, in extreme cases, legal protection are absolutely necessary. Stalker brains won't just get bored like normal crushes. They feed off persistence. In the end, the disturbing part isn't simply that stalkers behave this way. It's that their brains convince them it makes sense, that in their world, twisted logic feels like truth. And the victims? They're left to deal with the haunting impact of someone else's disturbed narrative playing out in real life, sometimes for years. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. I have more videos, so feel free to watch them as well. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. See you in the next video.